Hello guys and welcome back to another prediction. This time I will talk about the possible box office performance of Deadpool 2. As always, I will start this video off with a point which works in favor for a good box office performance of the movie. First of all, I want to name the performance of the first Deadpool, which was released on Valentine's Day in 2016. Deadpool is, at least from my point of view, one of the top 3 performances of this decade so far. Coming literally out of nowhere, the black-red dressed superhero grossed an enormous $363 million in the domestic market after a $132.4 million opening weekend, crushing tons of records including biggest February opening weekend of all time and biggest winter opening weekend of all time, and also the biggest opening weekend ever for an R-rated movie, beating Matrix Reloaded by roughly $41 million. On top of that, Deadpool managed to gross up to a 2.74 multiplier, which is a very good one for a front-loaded superhero movie, which is on top of that R-rated. From overseas territories, Deadpool grossed $420 million in total without its China release, which all adds up to a worldwide total of $783.1 million, making Deadpool the most successful R-rated movie worldwide of all time and the second highest grossing R-rated movie of all time in the domestic market, just $7 million behind The Passion of the Christ. It also became the peak of the X-Men franchise, outgrossing even the best X-Men installments in the domestic market by over $129 million and outgrossing the most successful X-Men installment, X-Men Days of Future Past, by roughly $40 million worldwide, although only costing a quarter of the production costs. To finish this point up right here, Deadpool was an absolutely magnificent juggernaut and will most likely not be surpassed by a lot of box office performers in the next few years. The goodwill from this very successful first installment will definitely help Deadpool 2 to perform good. The next point that I want to name is the marketing campaign towards the movie. A very big reason why the first Deadpool was so successful was due to the marketing campaign Fox and especially Ryan Reynolds pulled off towards the release of the film. The internet and TV spots in combination with great billboards and other marketing tools were nothing short of fantastic and helped the project a lot. 2 weeks ago, the first real trailer for Deadpool 2 hit the web, and it was brilliant. It makes me guess that the upcoming marketing campaign will be probably as good as the marketing campaign for the first Deadpool. So, another great point which works in favor for Deadpool 2. The next pro point is the cast. While the first Deadpool had just Ryan Reynolds in it when it comes to the big name actors or actresses, Deadpool 2 also has Josh Brolin. And when we keep in mind that Infinity War will hit cinemas 1 month before Deadpool 2 and that Infinity War also has Josh Brolin in it as Thanos, then the involvement of Josh Brolin in Deadpool 2 will definitely help the performance. The last pro point and maybe the biggest is the budget of Deadpool 2. Of course, they will bump the budget up from the first Deadpool, which had production costs of around $58 million. But even when they will almost double the costs to a healthy $100 million, Deadpool 2 will be pretty much safe financially. Even when the almost impossible situation becomes reality and Deadpool 2 grosses only half of what Deadpool grossed, then the movie will still break even. So, the low production costs are definitely a pro point which works in favor for the movie. Now to the points which does not work in favor for a good box office performance of Deadpool 2. First of all, I want to name the competition the movie has to face. 4 weeks before Deadpool 2 hits cinemas, there is the biggest comic book movie probably of all time, Avengers Infinity War. And while 4 weeks before is a lot of time, this giant will probably still hurt Deadpool 2 a bit. Even harder than that, Solo, a Star Wars story, will hit cinemas just 1 week prior to Deadpool 2, and with a movie like that, where the opening weekend will land way above 100 million, Deadpool 2 will be affected in a negative way. On its opening weekend and on its second weekend, Deadpool 2 is pretty much safe and there is not much competition. But on the third weekend of Deadpool 2's run, there is The Incredibles 2 to hit cinemas, and while this movie is not appealing to the same audience like Deadpool 2 does, it is a movie of extreme size and because of that will also affect Deadpool 2. To round all of this up, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom will be released on Deadpool 2's fourth weekend. This movie will probably open north of the solo Star Wars movie, north of Deadpool 2 and north of almost every movie of 2018, with an estimated opening weekend of 150 to 200 million. Of course, Deadpool 2 will make most of its money before that, but when The Fallen Kingdom will be released, the legs of Deadpool 2 will be cut very short. The next point is the director David Leitch. While I loved the directing of Tim Miller on the first Deadpool, he will very unfortunately not do the directing on Deadpool 2. The new guy for the job, David Leitch, is pretty much a wild card on the project and I'm not feeling good about this. He's pretty much just a stunt guy who only worked on one feature film as a solo director, and this project was Atomic Blonde from this year. Personally, I did not like Atomic Blonde, and with him being the director, I'm not feeling good about the future of Deadpool 2. Alright guys, I will now fade in all aspects that I just counted for a good or bad box office performance of the movie. And I will now start with the pessimistic prediction on Deadpool 2. When Deadpool 2 receives just mediocre reviews and hits a Rotten Tomato rating somewhere between 45 and 55%, I think it will decline in the domestic market comparable to the decline of X-Men Apocalypse to Days of Future Past. X-Men Apocalypse grossed around 66.4% of what Days of Future Past grossed. When we use this drop on Deadpool 2, then the movie will finish with a domestic total of 241.07 million, after opening with $100 million, which will conclude to a 2.41 multiplier. From overseas territories, Deadpool will collect a total of 315 million, declining 25% from the overseas total of the first Deadpool. All in all, this will put Deadpool 2 at a worldwide total of $556.07 million. While this amount of money will be still enough to earn profit for the production companies involved, they will probably hope to earn more with this project, but still, a Deadpool 3 will be 100% safe for the future. Let's move on to the realistic prediction. When Deadpool 2 is a good sequel, but is not coming close to the quality of the original, something which will be comparable to the quality drop of the second Guardians in comparison to the first Guardians, then I think that Deadpool 2 will still drop a bit in the domestic market, but will come very close to the overseas total of Deadpool. In this scenario, Deadpool 2 will open big to $118 million, and after a multiplier of 2.55, due to the hard competition, will finish its run in the domestic market with a total of $300.9 million. Additionally to that, Deadpool 2 will collect $380 million from overseas territories for a combined worldwide total of $680.9 million. This amount of money will make Fox very happy due to the fact that Deadpool 2 will become the third highest grossing movie out of the X-Men franchise with this final cum, just behind the first Deadpool and Days of Future Past. Let's finish this prediction off with the optimistic scenario. When Deadpool 2 is released and receives love from the general audience, and on top of that, critics are giving the film universal acclaim with a Rotten Tomato rating of 85% or more, then I think that Deadpool 2 will become the highest grossing R-rated movie in the domestic market of all time and will top $800 million worldwide. In this scenario, Deadpool 2 will outgross the first installment by roughly 4%, putting the domestic total at $377.59 million after a record-breaking $135 million opening and a multiplier of 2.8. From overseas territories, Deadpool 2 will collect a total of $445 million for a combined worldwide cum of $822.59 million. With this performance, the Deadpool films will be on track to become one of the most successful comic book movie series of all time, and Deadpool 2 will definitely be a contender for the greatest performance of 2018. The next video will be a prediction on The Incredibles 2. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys, it really means a lot to me. When you genuinely like what I do here on YouTube, it would be great when you consider liking and or sharing this prediction, since it would really help out this channel big time. You can also subscribe to my channel so you can always see when I'm releasing a new prediction. See you soon guys, more videos to come. Bye bye.